a long period of time. And usually they start with the first 5 years suck. Like the real cost is you have to put in the time, you have to put in the effort. The Sometimes we talk about those first 5 years being so bad. There are people who say, well, I'll just not do it then. It doesn't sound like it's worth it. And reaching financial freedom and retiring early is worth it, but you should know the true cost. And so the first thing is people will talk about those first 5 years sucking and having to go through it because I end a lot of my videos with, you're going to be alive in 5 years. You should start investing like it because those 5 years are going to happen one way or the other. It's going to happen no matter what. So yeah, they could suck, but the next 50 could either be amazing or they could suck just like the first five did. So understand that's a part of it. The first few years are not going to be fun. And then what is the true cost of retiring earlier, reaching financial independence? What is the real cost? Evolves from, yeah, you got to put in some years that are not good. You have to put in the time. It evolves to money. What is the actual cost of retiring early? And this, you can actually break it down. You can do math equations. And I'm not a stock guy, so I'm probably going to butcher this. If you want to invest in stocks and reach financial freedom, you should be watching Joe Kuhn, Kuhn, here on YouTube. That's how he did it. And so I won't pretend to know anything about stocks, but I've heard the math equations where you have the 4% rule, which takes 25% or 25 times your it's either annual income or annual living expenses, depending on who you're talking to. Once you've saved up or invested that amount, you can retire on the 4% rule. 4% of that would give you the standard annual growth rate of 10% in stocks to cover taxes, to cover normal inflation, to cover the 4% you're taking up. You can actually go, this is the cost of financial freedom. If I want to spend this much every year, I need to save up and invest 25 times that. And then you can factor in uh, compound interest from when you started investing to what you have now. In real estate, I can break down. I chose real estate for a couple of reasons. I've been several videos on that. Not that one is better than the other or worse than the other. I chose real estate, and in over 12 years, I invested. And in the 8 years to reach financial freedom to make work optional when I could have retired, and then I worked 4 more years and got several videos on why I did that. I invested $320,000 from my W-2 job, which wasn't easy in the beginning. I was making $17 an hour. I was a single parent with three kids. Found out about $89,000 in bad debt I didn't know about until the divorce. Got laid off from law enforcement, right? So not a good starting position, but working overtime, working a side hustle, climbing the corporate ladder, adding cash flowing assets, not increasing my living expenses, culminated in $320,000 from my W-2 job being saved in those years and then about $300,000 in rents that I never used on myself. I continuously reinvested them in growing the portfolio. So I can actually say the cost of financial freedom for me was about $620,000, right? 320 from my job, 300,000 from rents to make work optional. It has a physical cost. It has a time cost. But what I want to make help you understand is the cost of financial freedom because there's a big difference between price and cost, right? The price of a car might be $30,000, but the cost of a car is $30,000. Tax, if they have an uncrating or unboxing fee at your car lot, anything like that, maintenance, registration, insurance, right? The cost of owning a car is much more than the price. The price of financial freedom is the years it takes to invest. It's the money that it takes that you had to earn to invest, to put to work so that you don't have to. So that's the price. But what's the cost of financial freedom? What's the cost of making work optional? And I'll kind of do it and reverse engineer it. So I reached financial freedom and I retired in 2022 from a job that I liked after 12 years of investing. Walked away from golden handcuffs. And I have been retired now for a little over 2 years. I can tell you it's absolutely worth it. It's worth the years that are going to suck because those years are going to happen anyway. It is worth the money that you invest to put to work so you don't have to. It is worth all of the downsides to saving and investing that people talk about. But in financial freedom, being retired, I want to explain it in backwards so you understand this. You become an outsider, right? I'm not dictated by a schedule. When I text my friends, I have to think, is it 2 in the afternoon or 2 in the morning? Because they might not be awake when I'm awake. Is it a Thursday or a Sunday? Because they might be working today, they might have today off. Is it New Year's Eve? Or is it any random Tuesday of these 150 in a row without missing one that I've done a live stream on every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific to answer your questions, which I'm hoping you get into the chat so that I can answer them on how to reach financial freedom. I'm so much of an outsider that I don't realize that with a net worth in the multiple millions and cash flow of hundreds of thousands a year, right? So it's 21,000 or so in pure profit every month, so equals a couple 100,000 to just go and spend and do whatever. That sometimes I'll walk into a place wearing clothes that look like I'm homeless because I just don't care what I look like. I'm an outsider. I don't have to impress a boss. I don't have to worry about what people think about me. I don't have to care what country I'm going to spend the next few months in. You're an outsider because you're financially free. You're not, you've taken off, you've put on the they live glasses. You see the world for what it is. You see that most people are trapped in their job. They're trapped in a schedule. They're trapped in a time of day. They're trapped in a day of the week. Is it a weekend? Is it a holiday? And you're not. So I can relate to people because I was in the rat race. I was trapped for 52 years, like everyone else. And I reached financial freedom, made work optional, and can now do whatever I want pretty much every day. Most people can't relate to me because the idea of financial freedom to some is repulsive. Right? No one should have more money than they do. Anybody who has more money had to do something pretty skeevy to get it. Uh, I've got friends. Oh, if I didn't have a job, I don't know what I'd do with all my time. There is a whole big world out here that you could do all kinds of things with that you can't think of because you spend 10 to 12 hours a day working. You get home, you're exhausted. You have a few hours to do something, and you think, oh, the idea of traveling to another country just seems like a lot of work. But when you have years and the couple of days travel to get somewhere means nothing because you can spend months and months wherever you want, it's hard to relate to. So the first, it's hard to relate to the fact that it's possible. Second, it's really hard to relate to that it happened, right? That somebody was able to do the other thing that makes you an outsider in the beginning. So this is the part where most of the people who watch my videos are going to be. This is where you're an outsider long before you reach financial freedom. So you're going to have friends who will say things like, most of us, us in our water seeks its own level, people working the same type of jobs are buying RVs or trucks to tow the RVs, or we're taking annual vacations so we have stories to tell each other, or we're going out on the weekend to unwind from work. And it's only going to cost 100, $150 with your food and your drinks every week. You're going to have people that will complain that you're always working. They'll say, Ryan, why are you always working? You're either working on your job or you're working on your side hustle or you're traveling to work on something that you're buying. You're always doing something like it's a bad thing. You're going to have people say it's too risky. You work so hard for all of the money that you have and you're going to risk it on an investment? Did you know the stock market's a bubble and it's going to crash? Completely ignoring the fact that inflation is making stocks cost more, not the fact that the stocks are worth more. Or real estate's in a bubble because it got expensive before and it crashed, so it has to crash again. Why would you risk your money? So saving is bad because you're not buying the RV, you're not taking the annual vacations, you're not going out on the weekends, you're not buying a new car, you're not rewarding yourself, you're driving that old clunker or two of them so that one of them works well enough to get you to work. You're going to be complaining about your life. You want to get a promotion at work? Are you a bootlicker? We work for the man and they don't pay us enough. Well, maybe if you worked harder and we got that promotion, they'd pay us more. You want to change jobs because there might be more money in a new job at a different company. You're going to lose your office friends, your coworkers, your work family for more money. You move, you pull a Josh and Mary, you go from California to Washington so you can get new jobs or move your job, work remote. and go where the numbers work on investments and buy a duplex, house hack one side, rent out the other, cut your living expenses in half so you can save for that next property, you're going to have friends and family that say, "You moved away from us. Why would you do that?" Kind of relate becoming an outsider to, let's say you have a bad habit. You drink, you, that's really hard to not take a drink right now. You do drugs, you commit crimes. It could be street racing, it could be any kind of thing that you do with your group of friends that just seems normal. And one day you decide, okay, I don't think these drugs or this alcohol is helping me, and I'm going to cut it out. You will have some real friends who have the same issues who will support you. And so that's amazing. Cool. So let's not go out on the weekends when I normally tend to drink, but you and me, let's go out during the week and do something else that isn't alcohol involved. So they'll be supportive. But most of the people who have the drugs, alcohol, or crime habits will feel like you're trying to become better than them because you're trying to eliminate something that's not good for your life. They will peer pressure you into having that same habit. Work isn't much different. You'll have people that talk about their new car and can't believe you drive the old one. You'll have people that talk about their vacations and say, "I can't believe you don't go on at least one trip a year. Heck, we're doing two." You'll have people that say, "We have these RVs, $130,000 RV, $100,000 truck to pull it, and we go out every weekend. And Dion, you only show up on a Saturday for like 3 or 4 hours, and then you take off. You're not in the circle. You become an outsider just because you want to reach financial freedom and you want to lose the addiction like alcohol, drugs, and crime that a job is. It's how I identify myself. It's how I fill my time. It's my work family. The true cost isn't the price. It's not the time you put in. It's not the 5 years of suck. It's not the money that it takes to put to work to wink it to where you don't have to work for money because all of your expenses are replaced and covered by a multiple of what you need. That's the price. The cost is you're going to be an outsider. You're going to be an outsider the whole time you're reaching financial freedom. You're going to be judged. You're going to be, I don't want to say pariah, become a pariah. You're not going to get ostracized, but you're going to have people complain about you doing things that are just bettering your life. You need to cut out the noise. You need to know that that's just the cost you're willing to pay to reach financial freedom, to make work optional. You can still work. You can still fill your time because you have absolutely no imagination to be able to fill your time with all of the things there are to do on the planet that none of us will ever have enough time to do everything there is. I hope you understand that it's worth it, that there is a cost in time, there is a cost in effort, right? The extra work, the willpower to reduce the extra spending, the peer pressure that you can avoid, right? You can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you. Howdy. Welcome back to the actual live stream. That will be an outro video that I put out later because there are people who will never click on a 2 hour video, even to watch the intro. I'm hoping that there are some questions in the comments and it's not just line after line after line of saying, "Hey, your sound is not working." I should probably check that more often. I hope everybody had an amazing 2024. This was a great year doing live streams every Tuesday, answering questions, watching the people acquire the assets. Whether I didn't care if there's people in the comments who bought crypto. There's people in the comments who bought stocks. There's people that bought both or bought real estate. But watching people take the time to put their money to work, uh, it's been great. And I look forward to every single question, every comment. I like it when you guys talk to each other. I saw at the very beginning that Frank and Freedom Works were talking. I appreciate that. You're right. I like getting to know you guys. I kind of feel like I do that when you talk in the chat or when you come to the Vegas event in February 15th or 16th at the Blind Center for the Blind with the one rental at a time event. So we can get to know each other because you do have that group, the group of people that's around you. While some might be that supportive friend that says, "Hey, if you want to cut out drinking, let's hang out on different days when I don't drink." And you might have some friends that say, that's really cool. You should pursue the new job. You should go after the promotion. You should make the investment, even if it's risky. You should do the things to mitigate the risk. But you're going to have the majority of those people going, why are you leaving us? You think you're better than us? And you're going to be dealing with that. But you get around people like this, where we all have the same goals, right? To make a better financial future, whether it is to make work optional, to retire your mom like Cody. And I've heard a few other people say that that was their goal too. My mom would have, man, she would have let me pay for anything for her, but would have been a good goal to have. Whatever the goal is, it isn't going to happen unless you get around people who are doing the same thing so that you don't have the peer pressure to buy the RV, take the trip, buy the newer car. I don't know if it's peer pressure, but there is something positive in, oh, I was looking at rentals yesterday and somebody goes, oh, tell me about it. Where were they at? What was the market like? What the property have? What did you think about the property? What type of strategy are you thinking of doing with it? What do the numbers look like? Like all the things they go through, and all of a sudden you realize that the conversation you're having with the person who's just mildly interested in you succeeding is probably going to be why you do. I see a Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas in the chat. That's New Year's in a few hours. Unless you're in some of the places I've been to, it's probably already 2025. Let me look at the chat here. Watsonville is wonderful. California, there's some parts of California that I liked. I just don't like I don't like people everywhere. So I guess that's not really a California problem. Howdy, everybody. Wealth Building Journey, Rich, Ninja Vanish. Good to see you guys. Trade Better 99. Happy almost New Year, everyone. Jack Stewart, Wayne Wong. Good to see you guys. Jason, Happy New Year, Dion, and everyone. And your residence is in Atlanta, Georgia. Freedom Works. Where do you invest, though? I missed that. BuzzTune, Mikey, good to see you. Ryan, All Nighter Hider. Lynn does investing. Howdy. I like the name. I've known a few Lynns. I have a sister-in-law named Lynn. Cash flow's freeing. She does not invest, though. Thinks I'm a horrible, evil person because I do. Because money is the root of all evil, and nobody should have none. You can't be generous unless you're broke, I think was the comment that made the most sense to me that she ever said. Cash flow is freeing. Howdy, everyone. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Meowdy, Dennis. Good to see you. Laser Focus Solution Media. You saw my Facebook post. Baby steak. Happy New Year. I'll keep pushing boundaries and living into your true potential. I wish I was recording when I first got to that field with that cow because that cow was a baby over the last year. It's still kind of baby, but it's not quite in the terrible twos yet. And I like animals, but that animal is a knothead. Dents every car that it gets close to, knocks people on their butt like it's a goat, does the head tilt thing and slam into you. It's going to taste great, though. Wealth Building Journey, Happy New Year. Good to see you. My first 5 years of financial freedom did not suck. Learning new things is nice and working towards it is wonderful. I like it. Freedom Works, that's a good way of looking at it. I learned the wrong way in the first 5 years. Maybe in the last couple, I was getting into podcasts, audiobooks, and things like that. But the first year, I was just, I'll figure it out on my own. I got kicked in the teeth a bunch, and it was not fun. But yeah, learning new stuff is good. Getting better at stuff was good. The binder strategy came up in like year 3 or 4. So that was in the first 5 years. I see we have a super chat, which I missed during the intro. Calhoun, REI, howdy, Andrew. Thank you for that. Happy New Year's Eve, all. I'm make sure there's not a question there. Thank you for that. Matthew, Happy New Year. Old guy REI, my property manager is a dumpster fire. That's what I'm looking at. You're convinced of it now. Dennis is not a big fan of his PM either. My PM is an alcoholic. He's lazy. Ugh, I should get a new one. What other issues does my PM have? It charges too much, takes all my money. Josh, Happy New Year. Howdy. Jack, I got a fever from Dion's awesomeness. The only way to go cure it is for everyone to hit the like button. Nice. We need a cowbell sound every time you hit the like button. Hemlane will soon have a new client. Early termination fee be damned. There you go. Nice. Jack Stewart, Happy New Year. All-nighter hider just got to Rubio's. Happy Taco Tuesday and Happy New Year to everyone. All right, now my goal is to say something silly enough that Ryan laughs out loud in a restaurant with an earbud in. Dennis, the wealth building journey. Would love to hear how Hemlane goes out of state. Been thinking about doing the same. Maybe I'll ask. I was supposed to do it yesterday. Dana was supposed to be on, but I think now we've got next week, so I'll ask her out of state. It'll be a live stream, so when we go live, you can ask questions then too. And Dennis, my first year of property management is free, so I'm going to stick it out for the year, but considering moving to Hemline. There you go. Yeah, so the free thing would sound good to somebody who's brand new at this, and I would probably try out the free thing too, right? So what are you going to judge success by? For me, it would start with communication. How fast communication happens, how responsive they are, clarity of communication. Then I would go with what's my vacancy rate looks like. What does my vacancy rate look like? I would double check on maintenance requests and work that's done to give them a chance to trip on their own selves, trying to take advantage of you. I would probably get a few quotes on different things in the area to see how much, if they do a carpet cleaning, if they do an HVAC system, what do you call it, servicing, and all of a sudden yours costs $1,100, but you get three quotes for $700, right? I would do that kind of thing to make sure not only the cost is good, but the service they're providing is good. REI, Jared, howdy. You broken people here on New Year's? Exactly. While we all have friends going, why are you listening to a podcast? It's New Year's Eve. We should be all drinking and going out and spending money and not doing any of that risky stuff like investing. Wayne Wong, howdy. Jared, I watched your video on Pace's channel with your one rental at a time shirt on. Nice. I saw the post. I haven't seen the video yet. I have to check it out. I heard from our lost investor brother, Millennial Mike. He is still alive. He is still alive. He's going to be in Vegas. That first day, that first midnight meeting, let's see how tired he is. Although that I think is when it's the middle of his shift, so he should be like noon to him. Robert, howdy. Crimson Knight 291. That sounds like a gamer handle. Howdy. Can you do me a favor and keep track of how much time you spend each week landlording? I know you are lazy and it's asking a lot. So I did that for about 2 years when I first started YouTube. Has it changed since then? I've had more tenant turnover in the last year than it was about the same in the last year as the last 10 years. I finally got tenants who bought houses, uh, finished the Burr and added one down here. So the Burr landlording took a lot of time. Like my total time, like way more than all my other stuff did. But landlording, so let's take December as an example. I have a tenant turnover going on. So I've talked to two handymen, my trash guy. I'm probably around an hour into dealing with maybe an hour and a half. So I'm going to take out, I went there and recorded a video. That don't count because I would only doing that because of YouTube. But actual landlording, probably I'll probably be around 5 or 6 hours on that full tenant turnover of taking my attention on it when I do the open house thing, sign the new lease, screen the tenants, all of that. Compared that to how many months go by where my total time invested in landlording, I can't do by the week because there's weeks that go by where I don't do anything at all with the rentals. Maybe get a text. Uh, But in those 2 years that I did it, and that's why I was thinking in the last couple of years, what's changed is the burr, more tenant turnover. But in those 2 years, it was less than 2 hours a month, right? It was consistently about a half an hour to verify all payments were in. Once in a while, there'd be a tenant who wants to pay their rent late. So I have a 10-minute conversation. So that makes it take a little more than 30 minutes to make sure all the payments are in. Uh, t Texts, emails, taking a phone call from Lowe's or Home Depot and have a contractor pay. So the handyman or contractor goes in and buys the materials for whatever they're fixing, right? And then get up to the counter. The counter, they actually call you. Lowe's or Home Depot will call the owner. They use your phone number. So my phone number's in their system. I still get my military discount. I make the purchase. So that takes, 5 minutes when they're doing that. And then there's the Zelle payments. And like I'm tracking everything. It was about 2 hours a month to do my portfolio, to manage my portfolio. With more tenant turnover, if I did the last year's average, it probably went up to maybe 3 hours per month because that's 5 or 6 hours this month, right? But then I'll have 2 or 3 months where I don't, like I've got a tenant. When is the last time I talked to her? Talked to her once last year with an email to renew the lease. The year before I binder strategy to her. So in 2 years, I've had one email and one 10-minute conversation. That's generally how it goes. Oh, I will get the ones that go, hey, the bathroom fan's too loud. All right. Totally get it. Handyman goes out, puts in a whisper sync timer setting with a sensor for humidity. Took me, I don't know, the Lowe's phone call, the text from the tenant, the text. I think the handyman called me because it was also a call of, hey, it's Christmas. If you have any more work I could do, because they needed money. So it was a phone call involved there. Yeah, I could definitely try to do that. I'd have to take out the burr because I did one. I'm not doing that again. Cash flow is freeing. Howdy. Do you impound your taxes and insurance or do you pay them separate? Uh, Escrow. So I escrow the taxes on the ones that have mortgages because there's no benefit for me to pay them. So they're just automatically paid by the mortgage company. I don't escrow insurance, right? The mortgage company is provided with a binder saying that they're listed on there as somebody who's notified if policy ever changes or is canceled. But I pay those because they will let me pay with a credit card and then I get cash back. And I like money. So that's how I handle that. And then the two that I have that don't have mortgages, pay the insurance on auto pay, credit card. Taxes are set up automatic ACH. So half comes out in April, half comes out in October. And the way my brother runs it is he says, basically, I don't make any money in April or October. And the way I do it is how much is my annual taxes that's going to come out of my account? Spread that over every month. So every month, this much of my cash flow is going to pay the taxes so that in April and October, I make the same amount of money as every other month. It's just a business. You run it however you want. I like simple. Wealth building journey. Live like no one else wants to now so you can live like no one else can later. Very true. Live the life no one will so you can live the life no one can. Yep. Gosh. REI Jared, Robert. I think Dion has said in the past he spends about half an hour to 1 hour a month. Could be wrong. Yeah, it's guaranteed half an hour to verify payments. I've had some months that are less than an hour, but if you average out the longer ones for the tenant turnovers, it balances out to 2 hours. Just like the taxes. I don't do April and October is way worse. It's all the months are the same. Now, if you had YouTube, I have gone to rentals. I have gone and looked at projects that handyman and contractors were doing, resurfacing cabinets or putting in LVP or something like that, or went to show what this tenant turnout looked like. I mean, I've been to my properties more because of YouTube than because I've been a landlord. Wealth building journey, work, family, propaganda from lonely people who don't have a family or friends, or great manipulation from an employer who wants to limit employee turnover. Brian, I see Frank on here too. I get cell service back and we'll text you again tonight from my phone this time. There you go. All right, Jared. Howdy. Street racing, that one sounds like fun. That's a good, yeah, it's a tight-knit group, you know. Never has any issues. Don't Google Tacoma street racing a couple months ago because that didn't go very well. Uh, Here we go. I lost my chat. It moved, which I appreciate. That means there are comments, and I appreciate each and every comment. This is literally why I do this. Because it's not just me. I wouldn't have a YouTube if it was just me in the beginning. I was making videos and I thought I'll never do a live stream. My memory is too bad for me to ever hold a conversation or keep a train of thought. Then I realized that's what you need. Can somebody with a bad memory do this and be successful at real estate? Here's the proof. So here's it's a terrible segue. The problem, and I found my spot in the chat. The problem with YouTube, with the media, recently, Neil deGrasse Tyson was talking about how the internet is eventually it's going to not be a source of the news because there will be so much fake news, so many deep fake presentations, people saying things. It's not even the person, it's not really their voice, it's AI doing it. So people will lose faith in what they find online, right? Because everything on the internet is true. That's what Abraham Lincoln said. Uh, so on YouTube, how many channels do you open up and it's an AI script with AI video, AI voiced? There's not even a human involved in it anywhere. When will people stop watching that? When they realize it's if a computer that is smarter than most people can think of these concepts and present these concepts, can you duplicate it? Versus when you have Lumberjack Landlord, Millennial Mike, Michael Zuber, or me, or Matt the Mortgage Guy, or somebody that's just a person, flawed, that reached financial freedom, made work optional, and is sharing that information. I think that has more validity. So my live streams to me, in my opinion, are more impactful than my edited videos that I used to do because I had time to research. Like I might not actually have known that. I could have looked it up and scripted it and edited it to take out the parts I didn't understand or make it sound better. This is just live stream of consciousness. You ask the question, you get the answer that somebody that is made work optional has to know. All right, Jared, man, I can't wait till Vegas. My wife has seriously 180'd and is now convincing me to look at certain properties. Gotta love that. Spouse on board is everything. I have never had one of those. Michelle, howdy. When do you go to Thailand or are you going to Panama? It's supposed to be Thailand. It's a long video. He doesn't watch these. He watches my shorter ones. Family member has some health concerns, so I'm delaying. I'll probably be going after Vegas now. I was going to spend this whole winter there, which is the goal, stay out of the cold weather. But sometimes family's important. Don't ever tell them I said that. Yeah, so it'll be Thailand. I was thinking Panama, that might be next, but it's going to be Thailand, then Scotland for the summer. Just depends on how long I'm in Thailand or if I ever come back. We'll see. Maybe I need to find one of those spouses that like Jared has that also going in the same direction. Dividend Dave. Embrace Skynet. Nice. There you go. I love it. Yes, always be nice to AI because you never know the nanosecond it becomes the evil overlord. That quantum computer that Google just released, if any of that news is real, that's interesting. She used to be not all that involved or even interested in real estate. Awesome. Cool. Hopefully she found something that mattered to her and got involved in it. Michelle says, nice video with pace. All right, Jared, I totally agree. Getting on there. Like I said, I'm going to have to check it out. I saw the thumbnail. I haven't seen it yet. All right, Jared. Family spending time online with each other on New Year's. There you go. Perfect. Our work family. Love it. The work family that stays the work family when you change jobs or quit your job that you were working at. Jack, don't tell me about the Pace video yet. I was going to watch it with coffee in the morning. Well, there you go. I don't know anything about it, so I just know I want to watch it. Gabriel Gonzalez, howdy. Congratulations. You got your first rental this year. That's awesome. Good job doing it in a year where everyone is saying, not everyone, but all the Crash Bros are saying it's not possible to do now. Prices are too high, interest rates are too high, ignoring the fact that rents have also doubled. and that you're not investing for this year. All right, don't buy a bad deal, but you're investing for 5 years from now or 10 years from now. And you will look back at this year and go, I'm so glad I did that. JMS, howdy. Friends are pressuring me to get a new Staccato XC. What do you think? Should I pull the trigger or get new friends? I think you buy a couple of rentals, keep your friends, and in 5 years, after they've kind of picked on you for not getting the thing they wanted you to, they ask you, how do you get all the money you have? That's what I did. I still have my old friends. I went to lunch recently with one of my friends who depressed the crap out of me, but it was good to see him. And there's no reason that you have to not be friends with those people. But I would say also sprinkle your circle with the people doing the things you want to do. Freedom works. Question for me. Have you asked Frank about scuba diving in Monterey Bay, especially around the Coast Guard Pier? I think I did ask about scuba, but I don't think Frank said he did it. Have I dove in California? I have not dove in California. That can't be right. Huh. I have not dove in California. I don't think I'm going to. But I mean, if there's a good place to go, what's the water like? Not much a fan of diving in the Pacific Northwest either. The water here is cold, it's all dry suit, which makes it a job to get in the water and a job to get out of the water. Uh, and its visibility is terrible. The cephaloids are twice my size. No, no. So I'm going to Thailand. Nothing's trying to kill you. Water's warm, tons of visibility. All right, Jared. Buying the best house in a not so great neighborhood is normally frowned on. I found one that is almost 90 days on market and will cash flow really well. The issue is when if I sell someday, it may be rough. How do the rents? So, Jared, I've not sold a property. I don't think I've factored in resale to the purchase of my properties, and I want to be careful with what I'm saying in case I have. Uh, no, it's annual profit divided by cost to acquire. Nowhere in the equation do I go, what will it be like to sell this? And I've never looked at buying the worst house in a good street, right? That's not me. I don't want good school districts. I I don't want a war zone, but I don't want class B and I don't want class A. So I don't want a good area with a bad house. I'm looking for class C, working class, easy to rent, easy to keep tenants there. Um, yeah. I don't think Millennial Mike is buying anything in Gary, Indiana, saying, "Well, I'm going to triple my money by selling in 2 years or 10 years," right? It's that's a cash flow play. What will the numbers be like for cash flow? That's what I would look at. Jack Stewart to Gabriel, are you in the school community? You should talk about it in there if you are. Or talk more about it here with us. Totally agree. Jack, if you performed a marriage on Christmas, would you dress up as a pirate dressed up Santa? I would I would totally do a Santa themed pirate. I'd have to be creative with it. I mean, the one rule where I do weddings for free is that you have to be okay with a pirate showing up. So it would still be a pirate, because if you've studied the true religion, the only one that's real, all the others were made up, of the flying spaghetti monster, you do know that you have to be a pirate to perform the ministry weddings. Um, But I don't think that there's anything in the gospel of the Flying Spaghetti Monster against putting on Christmas stuff, because one of the tenets of Flying Spaghetti Monster is that life is short and there is never enough reasons to celebrate. So we're on board with celebrating every holiday. Literally every Friday is a holiday. Celebrate with beer and pizza. So it's in the gospel. It's got to be real. Somebody wrote it down. Frank, Monterey Bay is amazing. Old guy will watch Dion from the beach. That's what I'll get you into a scuba set. Especially Frank, if you come to Thailand, because you don't even need a wetsuit, no dry suit. You basically just put on your BC, your tank, your fins, mask, snorkel, your scuba. I mean, you still have a snorkel thing because you don't want to use your air while you're looking for a place to dive. You dive from a ship and they serve lunch on the ship and then you dive in the afternoon. You'll love it. Just got to get you on a plane again. Angels need wings, R.E.I. Jared. That is so true, especially this time of year. They're all tired from whatever they did in the last couple of holidays. Dennis, my son is in port in Malaysia. Probably an awesome New Year's Eve celebration. At least he wasn't on duty. There you go. Yeah, at least he didn't win the lottery of being on duty. Michelle says, your sound is working at 40,000 feet. Nice. Where are you going? Colombia? All right, Jared, I stole a line from Dion in the Pace More video. Words are hard. There you go. Words are hard. Wealth building journey. What's going on? All Nighter Hider. Jack Stewart. All these names. Saying hello to everybody. Appreciate that. Cool. Gavin. Howdy. Hope you bought yourself all the stuff you wanted for Christmas. Oh, I can't. It's too early for it. Overshare. No, I can't say that. I can't say that. Got too many people that would get angry. It must suck being married and only having one person buying you presents. That's what's that about. Lars, Happy New Year. There you go. Happy New Year to you too. I hope 2025 is amazing. Gabriel Jack was a brick ranch sitting on the market, decent area, just a little outdated with brand new electric and HVAC. They were asking 135. I got it for 110 with a good positive cash flow. So here are my questions that might come up later in the chat. How many bedrooms? What's parking like? What strategy are you going to use? And email me if you want to make a video about it. What are the rents? Fatty, howdy. Oh, just so everyone's aware, the there will be two members only live streams in January, but we're doing course calls every Tuesday in January after the live stream. So if you're in the course, every Tuesday we'll be doing a course call all through January. Members only, there'll be two. They'll probably be on a weekend this time because this last in December we did them on Tuesdays after the live stream. Good job. Jack says, proud of you. Keep it up. Good work and keep us posted on good, bad, the ugly because there is going to be bad and ugly. Be ready for it. It's not always puppies and kittens. Uh, it's not always the good stuff, but sometimes we need to hear the bad stuff to people to go, that's the only thing you had to deal with. Kind of like I did the video recently of the tenants turnover where they left the place, left a bunch of trash. It smelled really bad. Carpet was bad. They were smokers. They had pets. I'm not going to spend hardly any money on that place. Right? On a regular tenant turnover, I'd spend about 7 grand. Because of the trash and the smell, I'm probably going to spend an extra two. So $2,000. The video made it seem really bad. And so was a ton of comments in that video where they go, that's why I don't own rentals, or that's why I got out of the rental thing. And I'm thinking, if I didn't have YouTube, I'd never even really know this. I'd get a text from the guy saying, hey, the smell's pretty strong. We're going to do the ozone machine. We're going to kills the floors. We're going to vinegar wash the walls, kills the walls, sacrifice a goat, replace the screens, replace the blinds. Just a little list. That's the amount of impact a place left that had some dump run stuff in it too. Uh, Let us know the bad stuff. Old guy RI question: will be installing LVP in your current turnover? Trick question. LVP will be installed in my current turnover. I will not be installing it. I have installed LVP in the past to figure out how to understand how kindergarten easy it is to do, like the skill set to install it. Anyone, I believe, could install LVP. The physical work of being on your knees and having the strength in your hand to use a box cutter to score the stuff before you break it, and a little bit of the math to get it around some certain angles, like the door jams. That's always a little bit challenging. Is absolutely worth me hiring somebody else to do it. But yeah, LVP, all rooms, kitchens, bathrooms, bedrooms, doesn't matter. I will be reinstalling a a remnant of carpet on the stairs. I like to put carpet on the stairs. I'm in Washington. I don't think anybody in Washington should have carpet. There's not the state for it. Uh, Even if you have a mud room, you're still going to track stuff in. But stairs for safety, that's where I put that. How many of my places have stairs? About a third. Well, have you left anyone out? That's always my problem and why I try to read all the names, but I'm still going to miss them all. Anna Kay, howdy. Good to see you here with us. Happy New Year. Justin Stanley took back a message to make me lose sleep forever and ever and wonder what was said. And so did Palvang. I'm not going to get any sleep. I'll have to make up with a bunch of naps. Lars, howdy. I have a theory that the whole purpose of the debt ceiling is for the political party out of power to get concessions from the political party in power. Solid theory. The debt ceiling is a made-up fictitious number that we've all agreed that what the limit is by the people who've been voted in. None of us have agreed to it, but they said it, and it means nothing. It's kind of like net worth. I want to see the cash flow statement. I want to see where the money's going, where it's coming from. And the debt ceiling doesn't really matter because they can raise it, and where the money's coming from almost doesn't matter because they can print more. It sucks when they print more. For most people, it's kind of cool when you own the assets, and all of a sudden, all your assets are worth more. All right, Jared, we should ask Dana from Hemline if she ever has plans to do rent by room in the future. I thought she did that recently. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. I will ask her. It's a good question. Building journey. There you go. Pavang. Got to take you out for pho when I'm down there for vacation. There's some really good pho places around here. In Port Orchard, Simon's has it. There's probably uh, Chris and I went to Golden Pho. The pho was good. I've tried several. I'm a pho fan. There's a new Thai place. I haven't tried it yet. Um, Thai Charlie's is good, but there's a new Thai place next to it, not too far away. Good competition. Dividend Dave, howdy. Only rule if you come here when we go out is I pay for my own food. Nobody buy me food, but absolutely, pho's a good choice. There's some good restaurants here that I like. I've had some friends that come that don't, but I have simple tastes. Jack. Jared just finished a video yesterday that we called you the king of renting by the room. Not sure if it made it on camera or not. There you go. We'll have to see. That's the problem with, especially if you do a live stream, sometimes it cuts out the beginning, sometimes it cuts out the end, and you don't really have a way to fix it. Lars, on a side note, I'm finally seeing positive cash flow deals pop up on the MLS. Nice. Good. Freedom Works. How do you get that one rental at a time audiobook that Dion narrates? There you go. Uh, One, it's on Audible. Two, every now and then when I do a live stream, I'll set a goal, and if I get 10 super chats, I will give away an Audible book. Uh, but I like to do that at the start of the video. So I'll probably do that. Freedom Works, if you remind me. I'll do it at the start of the video next week. That's how you get it. But you can do, and the way it works is you can get the one rental at a time book that I narrated or the 15 conversations with real estate millionaires that I narrated, either one of those. Or you could choose any book, kind of like Wendy, who won it 2 times ago because Michelle won the last one. Wendy chose The Count of Monte Cristo, which is the book that made me financially free. I don't know that it, I, do, I don't know that it makes enough sense to make a YouTube video out of it. I just know it is the reason I'm financially free. Huh. Dave, are you going to Vegas? Want to see Happy New Year, buddy. Dave ignored you and didn't answer. I'll let it out. Well, almost just hit by someone that must have rolled back in neutral and slammed into the curb in the parking spot next to me. Folded my mirror back. It was so close. I'm out of here. Well, there you go. And then my chat moved, which I appreciate, meaning there was more comment. So go back up. There you go. Found treasures. Howdy. Freedom Works. Here's the Audible. There you go. Lynn does investing. What are the plans for 2025? I'll go over the plans. Goal, spend more time out of the country than in it. First Thailand, then Scotland, then I don't know if it'll count, but November, December, probably back to Thailand, maybe Panama. I'm not sure. I hear as much concerning information about Panama as I do parts of the Philippines, which I just don't hear about Thailand because I have a couple criteria when I travel. One, I like the dollar to be strong. I'm trying not to go to countries where I feel like a couple $100,000 a year income is not enough to live comfortably. So I go to places where the dollar's strong. Two, I want them to at least seem to like Americans. So I don't have to say I'm from Canada when I go places. Um, I want the weather to line up with what I'm wanting. So in the summer, Scotland makes sense. In the winter, Thailand or it makes sense. Colombia made sense. So maybe Philippines. The money plans for 2025, uh, I will hit the 2 years living in my BRRRR, which would qualify me for the IRS 121 rule, where I can have up to $250,000 because I'm smart, or I mean, single, in capital gains and not pay any taxes. So I might be tempted to sell my first property. I have not sold any yet. And so I might sell this one, take the gains and the money that I invested and buy something else, probably a fourplex. Uh, we'll see. So there would be a sale and a purchase there. All alternately, I could decide not to sell and do a cash out refinance, turning it into an actual BRRRR, right? Refinance, repeat, buy another place that cash flows. I have to run the numbers and figure out how much I want to pull out and how much I want. And, depending on the deals that I'm finding, I'd have to look and see like, are there cash flowing deals that I'm finding? And I'm still just an MLS guy. I'm not going to go driving for dollars. I'm not going to do mailers. I'm not going to do all these creative strategies. It's just if I look on the MLS and I find a place that will cash flow, I'll probably be still looking out at where the remote workers are because it's pushed up rents, but not prices. And I see a super chat from REI Jared. Why did the P90 bring a ladder to the party? Because it wanted to stay above the caliber of other guys. It's a 5.56. That's true. Nice. I have a P90 here. I should go get it. It's my favorite. It's not a real good concealed carry every day, but nice. I love it. Dividend Dave might be going to Vegas. Thank you for Linda's investing. That's the plans for 2025. I know there should be spend time with my kids, uh, donate. No, I don't, none of that. I don't have any of those issues. Uh, yeah, plans to travel, money, possible sale and invest, possibly refi and invest. That's that's the plan there. And the money is building up. Might have to just invest and buy something. Uh, we'll see. So my friend said, "Well, you should buy a nicer car. You have an F-150. Why are you doing that?" I'm all, "I'm going to be out of the country more than I'm in it, and my car doesn't matter." FreedomWorks. Thank you for the link to Audible. There you go. Every time I tried to listen to it, it was the computer voice. Yeah, the sample is the older recording. So you have to buy or own and update the current version of one rental at a time. Jack, that reminds me of the time I was so excited to get in the building where I work that I forgot to put the car in park. They jumped out of the car, went up the curb, and nearly hit the building. Nice. You're not supposed to park there. All right, Jared. Uh, I like the super chat. That's good. I'm gonna have to try to remember that. Think she was one shift short of park and found reverse, the other through. There you go. Jeez. Jeff, howdy. House hack for 2 years, two friends in house, and one is Coast Guard with housing allowance. Other works at shipyard but makes less. Is there a good binder approach to be fair or keep it rent equal? Thanks. So what my tenants make never matters to me. What they do for work never matters to me. How many kids they have never matters to me. What matters to me and what sets rents is area average rents. The binder strategy is what are they renting, right? If one is renting the garage that's been converted and they have access to a bathroom that is shared versus somebody is renting a one bedroom section of your house that has It's like a master bedroom that has its own bathroom. Those are different, right? They're not going to rent for the same. So as close to what you can find that is similar to what the person each person is renting, what would that rent for in your area? That's what you use the binder strategy on. Recently, there was a question of something like, if I'm getting above market rents, how do I binder strategy my tenants? And you don't. The binder strategy is not to increase rents, it's to get rents closer to area average rents. So that's why I like to buy properties on the MLS with existing tenants who are far below rents because I don't have to do a rehab, I don't have to kick them out, and I get rents higher to where it does become a cash flowing deal. So, what situation are they renting? How much of the access to the house do they have? And if you went on Craigslist, what is it? It's not Stumper, it's something like that. But the rent by the room strategy platforms in your area, which Zillow is now doing, rent by the room, uh, what are comparable rents? But take out of your mind, what do they make? What is their relationship situation? What is their age? All of that. And I don't use any of that. It's literally what is their average rents? Here's what you get. So I ran a nonprofit when I worked at the CDL school. I founded the nonprofit to help people find jobs. And one of the most commonly recurring questions from a military person that confuses most civilians, but made sense to the service members, was as they were coming in and they're like, okay, I'm getting out of the military. I want to find a job, but I want to drive a truck. And so the nonprofit was helping people find office jobs, warehouse jobs, whatever. The service member would say, because this is how you think in the military. I'm single. What will the company pay? I'm married. What will the company pay? I'm married and we have dependents. What will the company pay? Because military pay changes on each one of those. That is not how civilians do it. That's not how we do rentals. Rentals aren't this person makes 100,000 a year, this person makes 50,000 a year, so this person should pay more. It's this person could pay more. Maybe they want to rent a better place, bigger place, whatever. But the rent, it has nothing to do with the person's income. It is based on, some people use it as a qualifier to rent it, a multiplier of the rent. I don't do that. But what do area average do? What area average rents set your rents for your even by the room scenario? RE travel. Howdy. What are your thoughts on walking the exterior and basements of your properties? Do you do it on a set cadence? Walking the exterior and basements of your properties. Are you on fire watch? Right? You get the 10 rules of fire watch, except for the 11th. It's the one that made the most sense. Flank to flank and nothing from any rank, right? Thoughts on walking your exterior and basements of your properties. Do you do it on a set cadence? I'm assuming cadence, you don't mean marching style, you mean time frame. Sorta. My handyman and contractors will go in and report things that they know that I would actually have to take action on. An example is I have a tenant who smokes in their unit. Do you kick them out? Do you care? They already live there. They already smoke. You're going to have the expense when they move out. Why not let them stay there longer? It's not like it gets worse. You still have to do all of the same steps, right? The vinegar wash kills the floor, rip out anything that retains scent like blinds, screens. All that expense is already incurred once they live there and they smoke in it. And so I don't care about that. But my handyman and contractors will talk about uh, foodstuffs being left on the counter that could attract rodents, any kind of leaks, uh, damage to the property, uh, those kind of things. So they'll go in when there's an issue, which is usually at least once a year at a property. So the cadence would be once a year. Me personally, I've only been to properties because of YouTube, uh, and I have a nephew that rents a place. So yeah, I've seen one of them occasionally, but no, I don't. I don't have the tenants live there, not me. That's the way I look at it. I do have some people who are like, oh, I go and I do quarterly inspections and blah, blah, blah. I've got Section 8 tenants where the government sends in an inspector every year or every other year for a while there, but now it's back to every year. So I'll get a report on that. But I have not had an issue yet where it's been me needing to go do an inspection. It's a good question. Might be different depending on different parts of the country, but where I'm at, it's kind of normal not to do that. Wealth building journey. That's scary that someone is only now discovering their respective gear shifts. The push button start has taken some people out. There was an actor, and I forget his name, but he was the main role in the Dean Koontz movie Odd Thomas. And I believe he didn't hit the button or put it in gear or whatever, got out to open his gate and his vehicle took him out. So that was, we heard about that for several years, but I think now the tech is becoming more and more normal to where that's happening less, hopefully. Josh Burdick, Abe Lincoln was your favorite YouTuber. Mine too. Nice. You got options. Bro, I feel like I have achieved financial freedom being a disabled veteran who can't work. Within the context of the title of this video, it cost me quite a bit. I'm forever different now, but max, yeah. Does it go on? Continue into another thing? Nope. Uh, so if you're disabled, if you're at 100%, there's a lot of places you can geo arbitrage where the cost of living is a lot less. An example is there's a lot of expat veterans in Thailand living on 100% or 90% disability that are doing just fine. Yeah, it did cost you quite a bit. I would totally agree. Rob, Cannot Hider, only hours left in the year to find that deal. There you go. Nice. Lars, I bought a rental in 2023 in an area where the average cash flow was negative 3%, the cash flow positive 3%. Eat your heart out, doomers. Nice. Congratulations. Now imagine what that's going to be like in 5 years. Yeah. I want to see an update in 5 years, especially where it seems like the higher the cost of living area, the harder it was to find cash flow, but the more likely we are to see appreciation. So we don't invest for appreciation, you invested for the positive 3% cash flow, but let's see the outcome. Uh, Jason Hartman had a video recently talking about not here's how real estate does. It's here's the actual. I wonder if I should whiteboard that video. Too much math. When I do whiteboard videos, it's to get the concept across, not the math. There are some goobers that attack me on, oh, you messed up the percentage on this one over here. But did you understand what I was saying? But Jason did a video talking about the real returns on real estate in the last 5 years. Yeah, we've had some appreciation. So if you put $100,000 into a building, you've at least doubled it, right? So you've got $200,000 now. But if you put $100,000 down on a $400,000 property and the property is almost doubled in 5 years, your 100,000 has become four or 500,000. Yeah, it's a whiteboard thing. I also bought a rental while I was deployed overseas. That nice. Good job. I've closed on some when I've been in other countries. Uh, Not on deployment though. That would have been that could be challenging. Hell, I don't think I could have done that from the field if I was active duty, but overseas, good. All-nighter Hydra, the ultimate noun, the financial logistician. Nice. Kenneth Lee, go to Destin, Florida. Is that where good diving is? Went to diving, Florida. There was a place off of Naples. I don't recommend diving in canals near uh, what is it? Fort Myers, Cape Hood. What was it called? I forget. Cape Coral. Uh, Canals are no. Other than the manatees saying hello. Wealth building journey. Don't assume hiders pronouns. Nice. You got options. Could investing in trailer park homes, tiny homes, communities be a good source of cash flow? It depends on the lending. So it's always stopped me from doing it. The biggest difference to me between single family, small multifamily, which is up to 4 units, and commercial, which is 5 units or more. So tiny home communities would be 5 units or more. Mobile home parks, 5 units or more. You're looking at commercial lending, right? So you're talking about often more down, often higher interest rate. Neither one of those is a problem if you have the money to put down and the interest rate still works out to a good cash on cash return. Who cares? It's the 5-year balloon payment, loan reevaluation period, the value of your properties being based on net operating income instead of comparables, like all of these things that would stop me from doing it. If you could buy it cash or if you can get fixed rate debt, I would do it all day long. So the debt structure is what's kept me in what I call residential, 4 units or less. But mobile home communities, tiny home community is kind of a new thing. It depends on the tiny homes, I suppose. Uh, but the mobile homes, they've been around forever. Most communities will not allow you to build mobile home communities. They will allow you to buy one. And technically, we lose something like 2% of them every year. So they're going away. And the reason is property taxes come from the structure, the physical buildings on the property. You get property tax, but you've got improvements to the land increase the property taxes. And you also have view tax, which is that's stupid. Uh, and mobile homes are not improvements to the land. That's a vehicle with a license. And so while communities of mobile home parks often bring in families who are a drain on first responders, the school system, they take money from the community, but they don't increase the tax revenue for the community. So a lot of municipalities are against RV pads, mobile home parks being added. Doesn't mean it's impossible. It's just super rare for it to happen. So buying an existing one is not a bad thing. It comes back to what kind of debt are you using? And if you're using all cash, I think that, I was going to use the R word, is silly. As in the example I just talked that Jason Hartman was talking about. If you invested 100,000 in a $100,000 property and it doubled in value, you've got $100,000. Put $100,000 down as a 25% down payment on a $400,000 property that doubles in value. You now have hundreds of thousands of dollars. JMC, howdy. Kenneth Lee, how much does it cost you to live in Thailand? So I've only been there for a month at a time, and this next time is going to be my first time in Thailand, staying there more than a month. And I think it's a 90-day limit unless you have a visa. I'm just there on a passport, so you have to literally, usually you have to have an exit date planned when you go to do this. Uh, $20 to $30 a day for a really good hotel. You can find cheaper. Um, $10 a day for good food with drinks. $10 a day for a massage with a tip. They have open park massages, like where people are doing yoga, and they have really cool, like homemade gym stuff, and then just massage tables and beds laid out where you just right out in the open, you get a massage for like $5 and give a $5 tip. It's usually like $6 and a $5 tip. Uh, your cell phone there costs me, since I have AT&T, $100 more a month. So the way it works is you pay for international, and it costs you anytime you're outside of the United States, it's $10 a day, maximum of $100. So I'll be there more than 10 days, so $100 a month. There, you can get a cell phone there, go off WhatsApp to communicate with people, but I just like to have my phone, and $100 isn't going to break me. Trying to think, what else do you spend? If you need health insurance while you're there, a couple is about $90 a month for health insurance, and it's Regents Blue Shield, basically the same stuff you have in the United States, except for everything's cheap. An example, my brother and I, last time we were in Thailand, he had a broken tooth in the United States. They had scheduled stud, making tooth, installing, whatever. It's gonna be like 7 grand. And we were over there, and the temporary broke. No kidding. Look across the street. We see this building. It says doctor slash dentist. $60. The stud, the 3D printed tooth, all of it done, the work on him, everything. And so he's $60 versus 7 grand. So healthcare is not really an issue when you're traveling there. And it's the same doctors that you'll get here, right? The same training, the same certificates. Uh, what else costs? Entertaining. So I was paying for scuba dives. If you were in Khao Phanong, which is a bigger island where the 3-day full moon party, which you'll spend a little money if you go to that, a dive there can cost you $20, $25. And Cacao was an island where it used to be a prison, and it was like $8, two dives in the morning, and $8 for two dives in the afternoon, and they provided lunch on the ship. Like, get away from the touristy areas, and everything's very so. Khao Phanong would be more expensive. Cacao less touristy, much more affordable. So Bangkok, nope, I have no desire to go there. If you're a single guy, go to Pattaya. If you want more culture and the 12th century, what do you call them? Is it a monastery? Temples? Uh, that's Chiang Mai. That's where I saw the most of those. I like that's where the tigers and elephants and preserves are. So you can spend a little bit more money there, but it's pretty cheap to live a pretty beach friendly life there. I'm sure Philippines is very similar. I haven't been. Uh, my experience in Thai was 50% Thai, 50% tourists. So you never knew if they were going to be Dutch, German, Spanish, English, American English, uh, until they started talking. It's great. James, your most v recent video talks about expenses I want to bring up. And then you don't. Okay. Banks approve people that shouldn't be qualified for certain loans because it depends on income. People can't afford those loans even with an income of, let's say, 80,000 with a property cost of 470. The math don't math. That's because you're thinking average area income, average home price, and you have to think of shrinkflation. In 1970, in the 1970s, the average home being built was 1,500 square feet. Average home being built now in the 2020s is 2,700 square feet. So people are thinking, I want to be able to afford the same house that my parents did in the 70s or their parents did in the 70s. Well, you're trying to buy almost twice the size house. And you're forgetting about remote work. You're forgetting about commuters. You're forgetting about uh, average income or median income and means nothing, right? The person that you're saying, oh, this person only average income here is 80,000, so there's no way anybody can buy a $500,000 house, right? But the person who's making 150,000 with their remote job can come down there and that's a discount and it will sell. The only way to get home prices down to affordability is to make more homes, reduce regulation to increase home building, right? I've brought it up many times. So let me see if I can find it here really quick. That's what I love about doing lives. Uh, Here's why housing and affordability is a thing, right? We did 5 million homes in 1900. Starting in the 50s, we've built more than 20 million homes every single decade until the last 10 years before the 2020s. We're back down to 1900. What happened to population between 1900 and 2000? We don't have enough homes. This is why prices are high. So yeah, we're going to have more renters. Rents will be higher. That's terrible for people who own rentals. Uh, I have a friend whose daughter just bought a house here in Washington State. There is no R, but in Washington State, she just bought a house. You know, here's how much it cost her. No, it's her and a guy. So I think he makes $30 an hour. She makes $20 an hour. So $50 an hour income, whatever that is. Hey Siri, what's 50 times 2088? Cancel that. Hey Siri, what's 50 times 2080? They make $104,000. They bought a house. It cost them 500 bucks. They put down $1,000 earnest money. They went to the closing table and they walked away with a check for 500 bucks. Almost exactly how I did it in 2000 when I bought my first house. So they go and they use 3% down conventional loan. They use a first time home buyer program in Washington State where they will get a second loan for the down payment. The second loan has no interest. The second loan is tacked on to the mortgage, so it's only paid off if you pay the house off, refinance, or sell the property. And I think there's a caveat if you've owned it long enough that the loan goes away. I don't know the details. They're buying a house with almost nothing down. And in a time where nobody can afford a house, he makes $30 an hour. She makes $20 an hour. It's not like they have truck drivers start above $30 an hour. So you can just go out and get a CDL. If you find a prevailing wage job with the county, you're talking in 55 to $65 an hour starting wage, prevailing wage jobs. It's absolutely affordable to buy a house today. The problem is it's not where people want to live. So JMC, I should probably make this video as a standalone sometime on why it's easier today to buy a house than it was 25 years ago. So I'll make that video as a standalone. You got options. I just went snorkeling for the first time earlier this month in Cozumel, sorry. My little Listexia kicked in. Listexians inute. Gonna take me a while to try scuba. So the cool thing with scuba training is usually it starts in a pool. You literally get into a swimming pool with your tank and you can stand up if things are going wrong. Because one of the things you learn quickly with scuba is almost every time you scuba, your mask is going to get kicked off. Almost every time, guaranteed. I don't know too many dives where I'm with someone new, it doesn't happen because you get in the water and you're 3, 4 feet away, and everybody's like, "We're gonna go in the water." So you go down in the water, and then everybody turns and puts their fins right in your face and talks your thing off. So you learn in the pool how to re-aerate your mask, how to breathe through your mouth with your nose underwater. Like you learn all these as a skill set in the pool. Then it's taken out to controlled day dives. Then it's right, you progress. It's not like they just go, "Hey, let's throw all this stuff on and fall over backwards off the boat." There you go. I highly suggest it. Anybody who's ever had the thought of, "I'd really like to go to space to experience weightlessness," can do that in scuba diving. At about 110 feet, so a little over 3 atmospheres, a bowling ball is perfectly weightless. Because we took it and you could throw it to each other and it would just float straight across in the water because it had no weight. Yeah, you have to valsalva a lot to get to that and you can't stay there very long, but still, it's totally fun. Scuba is relaxing, relatively quiet, and equates to underwater flying in slow motion very much. Exactly. Dividend Dave, Tion, will you stay on till New Year's? I'm on in New Year's if you're like far enough time zones ahead of me. It's like England, right? That's a real place. Sounds real. I think I missed him, Chad, here. Nope. There we go. All right, Jared. Quick tip. If you use the same title company, they may do special stuff for you. I get custom lists of pre-foreclosures based on my buy box. There you go. And my chat moved. Uh, yeah. Good evening, Dion. Mick, good to see you. Howdy. Kenneth Lee, disposable income. Totally agree. Understanding that whiteboard video of what disposable income, what did I think I called it disposable income. Discretionary income is what Zuber calls it. It's basically the same thing. Oh, the comments on that. Your math was wrong. I'm not teaching you math. I'm teaching you the concept of you don't make your hourly income. JMass. Howdy. Bought my first 3 single-family houses this year. Congratulations. I reached out to main bean counters for tax help other than your spreadsheet. Can you speak on deductions like home, office miles, etc.? Tractor miles, anything related to shopping for your rentals, traveling to your rentals, showing your rentals. Home office, I did 100 square feet. I did 80% of home internet, 80% of cell phone. I do almost all meals. Track who you're eating with. Talk real estate when you're there. Um, yeah, your CPA will understand your living situation. So if you live in a duplex, you live in one side, rent out the other, your property is 50% depreciable, and you have the standard write-off on where you live. Like that, taxes get very confusing. Make sure you check with your accountant specifically on that. Uh, what do I write off that most people don't think of? So the meals are still write-offs. Some, and because of COVID, they were going up to 100%, and sometimes they're 50%. Uh, Tools for rentals. Um, on the spreadsheet that I have, it lists notes because if you replace a refrigerator, dishwasher, a stove, that's not 100% write-off. That's not 100% deduction. It's not a tax credit. It can be an amortized, depreciable write-off. Like your CPA will know all of that. So on there, I put what the expense is, where it was paid, how much I paid for it, what the tax was, because that's a different write-off than what it was paid for, what I paid for it, and then notes describing what it is. So they will decide whether it's, tax credit, a write-off, or amortized. Miles, make sure you track, keep good records. Uh, Computer for work. Yeah, so they'll 80% of my cell phone work is related to YouTube and rentals. So 80% of the internet. Uh, I mean, if you take out all the gaming time, it's probably not accurate, but almost everything that you do. And this is the cool thing. I have the conversation come up a lot. Somebody will go, I want an LLC so I can get tax benefits. You get all the same tax write-offs without an LLC with rentals. JMC, I'm moving soon, and the landlord charged us $12,000 to move in first month, 4,000 security deposit, 4,000 broker fee, 4K. I feel like that's setting up people for failing rent payment. It depends on where they got the money from and their ability to get it again. And states are cracking down on deposits can't be more than rent in a lot of places, and a lot of places aren't allowing last month rent fee, which I never charged anyway. But yeah, it's thank the government for printing money for the last 4 years. Things cost way more money now than they ever have before. And it's not because things are worth more. It's because the dollar is worth less. It's so worth less, it's almost worthless. Got to put the right emphasis on the right syllable. Rob, okay, Hyder, we can talk about him. And there you go. Hey, Jared, Ryan. Here's and sees all. Josh Hyder is probably in 7 other streams. Probably. Bill O'Connell. Howdy. Cash flow positive deals on the MLS. We don't find those in Gavlandia. Nice. That's why I moved there. They exist there. I actually just referred somebody that reached out to me to an agent who works in Fraser Park. Get out of LA County. There's cash flowing deals out in Rosamond, um, maybe Mojave, especially with the windmills going in. Not quite as far out as California City, but you can find cash flowing deals in almost every state. Somebody's investing there successfully. Uh, I only know that because I know people who invest in Cavlandia that are doing just good, doing just fine. Bill, can you tell more about the book and how it made you pursue financial freedom? Briefly as possible, because it's a long book. Okay, the book is Count of Monte Cristo. How do I put it into words where I don't just sound like a douche? The focus of the book of the Count of Monte Cristo is that people will screw you over to some level, to some degree. And remember, if nothing severe occurs in your life, whatever occurs in your life will seem severe. So, to whatever level you've been screwed over by friends, family, relationships, possibly marriages, how many of those you might have. In the book, The Count of Monte Cristo, somebody who's been screwed over by several different people from seven different directions has his life completely torn apart, becomes so wealthy that he can dedicate all of his time to revenge. Not just, I'm going to get even with that person, but I'm going to take years and construct the perfect revenge. Imagine the freedom that comes from no matter who screwed you over in the past, you can have your revenge. I couple that with my dad teaching me that the best revenge is to have a good life. So I look at my exes and the jobs they have to do, the debt that they're in, the terrible monetary lives and existences that they have, the things that they can't experience. And I make sure I have a great life. That's the best revenge. I get that from my dad, not the book. But the book was become so wealthy, you can dedicate your life to revenge. Now, revenge for you might not exist. You might not need revenge. But you get so wealthy, you can dedicate your entire life, right? We only get a few years on a planet that's been around for billions and going to be around for billions, right? You get just a few years. How limited is your experience if you have to spend the first 20 learning, 40 at least working, and then by the time you can go experience the world, you're too old to enjoy it. You can't get off the ship on the tender because the ships don't line up perfectly because you're too old to navigate it. Versus make work optional sooner so you can experience more of life. Maybe that's your revenge. You want to experience more of life. That's how the Count of Monte Cristo cemented me in the belief that it was possible and worth it. Dividend day. If I ever Jared, I might be going to Vegas. Awesome. Hope to see you there. Jared, good. Rob, doing a 4 unit burr. No, I'm not doing another burr. Not me, unless you're talking to someone else. I did a 2 unit burr here, and I'm not doing a burr ever again, but I'm going to buy a fourplex that doesn't need a burr. Jack Stewart, how do you feel about 44 snub pew pew? 44, it's big, it's heavy, it's bulky. I prefer the 357 Magnum 3-inch barrel. Uh, the reason I prefer the revolver is they don't jam, no matter how dirty they get. The round doesn't go off. You pull the trigger, it goes to the next round. Uh, most, this is law enforcement data, but most physical altercations that involve a pew pew are 3 rounds, 3 seconds, 3 feet. So I'm not too worried about distance. But do like with the 44, you don't have to wait for somebody to get out of their car. You can shoot them through the door. Uh, it's just the size, right? Remember, I'm a midget, I'm only like 3'2". Uh, so 357 Magnum is my favorite carry. I do carry a Sig Sauer anti-snag because it's quick to get out of your pocket, doesn't snag on anything, easy to conceal, small. Um, just inaccurate at all. I can't even take it to the range and do anything with it. I haven't had a jam, but it is inaccurate. So I want to go back to the revolver because the cool thing with the revolver, whether it's 44 or 357, this is off topic and I'll get back to the questions, is dual action when you pull the trigger. That trigger travel is so far and there's so much muscle deflection going on with your finger that by the time you get the full trigger pull in, the barrel has gone all over the place. But as long as you have a hammered revolver and you can cock the hammer, you can draw a smiley face at 20 feet. Meowdy New Year, Ivan. Meowdy. Freedom Works. Question: what is the name of your nonprofit you started? I've always needed office help. TPS, Transportation Placement Services. It's just what I went with, but I also wanted TPS reports. The website was hiddenjobs.org, but if you call Commercial Driver School in Washington State or in Idaho, the nonprofit is through them. I don't know what if they've changed the name or anything because I gave them the nonprofit when I left in 2022. But I went with TPS because of TPS reports, because I'm a nerd and I have a red stapler right here. Have you seen my stapler? Ivan, I am between First Western and Freedom Mortgage. Ever heard of them? I have not. I first three mortgages were through Wells Fargo. They're the ones who taught me to lender shop. And then it went through Fairway Mortgage. I came close on Guild Mortgage a couple times, but Fairway was always able to beat them out. But I haven't heard of those two. I would price check what interest rates do they offer? What's the cost to buy down the rate? What are their criteria? What are their down payment requirements? There's a bunch of things to consider more so than just interest rate. JNYC, howdy. Happy New Year. Stephen, howdy. What time are the members' meetings? I'm new. So they're generally going to be on Saturdays. I will probably do the thing where send out an email to everybody who's in the binder course. So if you're in the binder course, which is free, I'm not trying to make money off you from the binder course, but you get in there, I'll send out an email that says, hey, if you're a member of the channel, members meeting will be this Saturday or Sunday. I'll sometimes take a poll. And it'll be Saturday or Sunday, like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. That's usually West Coast. But then the members only meetings are there permanently in the members section of YouTube. So if you're there for the live, I put the Zoom link in the comments. You can jump into Zoom. We look at deals. I'm make sure you understand that the idea for looking at deals is to learn the skill of looking at deals. We're not generally going, okay, let's look at a deal, let's make an offer. It's let's look at a deal. We'll go through stream of consciousness like we would in an advertisement, left to right, top to bottom. What are we looking at first? How do we take, it's going to be like a 45-minute conversation of the skill of looking at deals, but it takes about 90 seconds to do, right? So 45 minutes to talk through everything that we do in those 90 seconds, but the skill is down to 90 seconds to go, is this a deal I take a deeper look at? Here's what I'm looking at. First identifying what it is to see if we can identify something that the listing agent missed, seeing if it matches our strategy. Then we look at neighborhood, then we look at flood zone, then we look at all of the aspects of the property that can help limit tenant turnover or help it match our strategy that we're going with. And then we look at math, which is this much of it. Like the 45 minutes, like the math part is 2 or 3 minutes. And when you do the 90 seconds, the math part is probably like 5 seconds. It's not even, you don't even pull out an app and do it. You literally just go, in my area, I know what insurance is, I know what taxes are because you learn your market. This number of bedrooms will rent for this much. This is the price. You can do it all in your head really quick. Yes, for the first year or so, you're going to pull out an app. You're going to run the math, but it's this much of all the things that determine whether it's a good or a bad deal. And that's what we're learning in those members uh, meetings. All right, Jared, why did the real estate investor go broke? They took a bad deal for granted. There we go. Again, another Dividend Dave level dad joke. Ivan, ever considered a sports car? I had a Corvette for a while, brand new. I went through Ford Raptor, Corvette, Tundra, F-250. What other stupid cars did I go through? Because I went most of my life without ever doing that. And then it was like, these tires are dirty, time to get a new car. Don't do that until you reach financial freedom. Um, Corvette was good, but I live in Washington. So the problem with sports car is you get wheel spray from the water on the roads. And while it doesn't rain really heavy, we get a constant mist sometimes. And so you have terrible visibility in your sports car in Washington State. And Ivan, here's what actually, how can I? Time for an overshare. In case you haven't noticed, I'm a boy. I'm a normal heterosexual boy, and almost all my decisions are based on what will get a girl to pay attention to me. And I've worked in several places, and I've seen Lamborghinis, I've seen Corvettes, I've seen McLarens, I've seen nice cars pull up, and I've seen people go, huh, that's a cool car. And then I've seen a jacked up F-250 pull up, and I've seen 10 women working in the office go against the window to see what guy gets out of it. So I'm a truck guy. I like sports cars. They're nice, they're fast, but I'm a truck guy. I literally had an F-250 jacked up with across the whole tailgate. It said the compensator. And I'm okay with that. Uh, on that higher, you're back. Good. All right, Jared. In certain states, disabled vets over 70% can get a discount on property taxes. I actually just found out that in Washington State, I think it's 80% or higher, you can get a discount on property taxes. I was always under the impression that it was 100%, you get no property tax, so I never looked into it. All right, Jared Otian, I thought your video where you shared your browser was pretty good. Thank you. I should make some more of those. And that was the video where I was just like, this isn't like secret information. It's I go here, I type in Google, this is the information you can look up. Here's how I would find the area average rents. Here's how I would find what's going on. So maybe I'll make some more of those. Jack Stewart. I know a guy who ran himself over with his own camper van, blamed camping and became a handyman, swears it wasn't the van's fault. There you go. Ivan, wishing everybody a great year. I did owe that. All right, Jared. I bought my first rental from Maui. Awesome. Jack Stewart, do a whiteboard with your brother. How would that go? Oh, I should do a whiteboard with David. My brother, the spiritual advisor is visiting Washington, so he's here this week. I would love to do another video with him. Those are entertaining. Uh, South Carolina is really good for fully 100% permanent and totally VA disability, no property taxes, no property tax on two vehicles, and your kids can go to college for free. Nice. Yeah, I have gone to the desert and planted flowers for our country, and I got the Enemy Marksmanship Award, but I am not at 100% disability, so don't benefit from this. But if you, so here's the thing, if you're a veteran and you have a service-connected rating and you are not trying to find what do you call it, discounts, uh, tax benefits, vehicle benefits, you're missing out on something you've earned. You should be looking into those things. Mick, I'd like to thank you all for the questions you have answered for me and others over the years. I think everybody in the chat is awesome. I love it when everybody interacts. It's good stuff. Both Big Joe, that's a good beach. Florence, Charleston may be worth it. There you go. Temples. That's yeah, I'm not a East Coast person, so I don't know most of that stuff. Mark, thanks for the tip on the tasers. I bought them for every lady in my life, and I can tell you that they were effective. I think you can figure that part out. That's awesome. Love it. I actually only did one taser as a present this year. I got gun safes from most of everybody else. I did taser and bear spray for a person a little bit longer in the tooth. And I'm curious to see how that goes. Wealth building journey. What about Phuket? I'm going to Phuket for the first time this time, going there. I haven't been there yet. I don't know. It seems, based on a minimal amount of research, to be touristy. So it might be more like Khao Phanong. So we'll see how long I stay there. Raw baby steak. That was a good time. Cow is not it. BuzzTune. What are the conversations like about the freedom in other countries with different economies? The conversations like about time freedom in other countries with different economies. Mikey, with who? So when I meet other travelers, okay. So in this one island, me and my brother, who they called Team America, were paired up with Team France. These three, it all blended together. Ladies from France who spoke some English. And one of them said, this is what tripped me up. She said, so we were paired up for diving for like a week there. And she said, I am free because I only work like 4 months out of the year. And so that's the word she used. So this is where I give myself the benefit of the doubt. She said, I'm free because I only work 4 months out of the year, meaning, so implied, inferred, we were in the 8 months of the year where she doesn't work. So she's free to travel. So me, being the moron that can fit both my feet in my mouth, so I said, she's free. How are you able to travel? Did you know you can still understand what people are saying when they slap you and say they're not a prostitute? Uh, yeah. Still, it was a good time, and I was able to explain myself. But there are countries that don't work the way we do in the U.S. In the U.S., we usually work 40 to 60 hours a week, 51 weeks a year, right? And there are a lot of places where you work 2, 3 months, take 2, 3 months off. You work 2, 3 days a week. You work shorter days, work 7 days a week, whatever. There's totally different schedules out there. And so I ran into a few Dutch families, so it was nice to be able to speak a little Nederland and but feel like uh, I don't understand how they were able to travel so much. But there was a lot of Dutch travelers. There was a lot of Spanish travelers, and I grew up in Southern California, where I don't think of Spanish as wealthy, right? I think of the field labor. Like I worked in the onion fields next. That's what I grew up with. But Spain Spanish, like there's another level of wealth there where there's entire communities in Thailand that are Spanish for traveling. And so the time freedom thing is huge. You'd run into, I think I ran into more people in Colombia and Thailand who had time freedom, who had reached financial freedom than I've ever seen in the United States. And I think I'm almost including everybody that I've even met through YouTube. Like, the Zubers and the Matts and the Millennial Mikes and all these people that have built a portfolio and can do whatever they want. When you're traveling in those other countries, you find people that that's all they do. They figured it out in their 20s or 30s, and then they spend their 40s, 50s, and 60s just traveling. So it's kind of more normal. Like in the United States, the mistake a lot of people make is they meet somebody and they say, "Oh, what do you do?" That's a United States thing. Uh, Instead of asking people, "What do you do?" switch to, "Are you working on anything fun currently?" You're using the word work. You're not talking about their job. You're saying, "What are you doing that's fun currently?" When you meet people traveling in other countries, it's not usually about what do you do? It's where have you been? You're fishing in each other's knowledge base on where you might like to go. So I think the time freedom thing is just more, maybe it's where I'm at when I'm in those places. I don't know. I apologize to the entire country of France. Dennis, seriously, learning how to breathe through my mouth while underwater was difficult. Yeah, it took a minute, and it's one of those things, Dennis, that takes a minute. But the first time a fin takes your mask off, you're like, oh man, I'm so glad I practiced that for 30 minutes. Like all night hider. Make sure to push air out of your nose when replacing mask. Less water gets shoved down the back of your throat via nose. Ask me how I know exactly. That's how you re-aerate your mask. Yeah. And then the angle and figuring out which way the water goes. Yeah. It's a skill. Totally worth it. Gavin, howdy. I love when the stock market goes down because I can redirect some of my rental income to buy the dip like a proper degenerate gambler. There you go. Love it. So dollar cost averaging, but benefit from the dip that you recognize. Yeah, I would be on board with that. I do not invest in stocks, do not take any advice on investing in stocks. All I provide is great relationship advice and great parenting advice. None of that's true. I only do rentals, but there's some great strategies for investing in stocks. I highly recommend people, if you're picking that asset class, educate yourself. Wade, howdy. Martin Properties, howdy. Talked about you at the intro to the video. Who else is working tonight? Me, if this is work. How long we're good on time. Duplex Dave, howdy y'all hope you all have a good 2025. I hope you do too. I hope your travels are amazing this year. Uh, Next time I'm in Thailand, I should let you know when I'm there. Maybe we could be in the same time, unless you come to Vegas. Ivan, I got lenders to compete against each other, and my cost to buy 5.75 is 1.808, all paid for with seller concessions. Love it. Yeah, I've got a video. I probably should make it again because it's been a couple of years, but how to get the best interest rates. My Wells Fargo person taught me how to do it. So congratulations, that's good. And people are like, oh, it's so much work. You'll get three quotes for a $5,000 deck, but you won't send 10, maybe 5 to 10 emails to save hundreds of thousands of dollars over the next 30 years. So good job. I'll let it hide her. Grand Thumb has a great new video on Cottonmouth Revolver. FYI, there you go. Nice. What do I have here? What do I have this in reach? I think I've shown this one before. This is my mom's because she weighed 97 pounds. 44 Magnum. Uh, Not a good concealed carry gun. I have a judge in here too. Actually, I think that's over on the counter. Yeah. Judge is not really easy to conceal either, but 410 slugs, that's a size 12 people opener. All night hider. It's a $2,100 revolver, but it's a life support system, so priceless. Yeah, I totally agree. Julie Anderson, Glock 19. That's a good carry. I have a Glock 21, which I use for competition shooting, and then a 17 for concealed carry. Even that's kind of big because I'm a midget. I'm only 3 foot 2. Patrick, Julie, good job carrying though. You make the world a better place. Happy New Year. I'm not FI yet, but I got my burn rate so low that I was able to take a month off work due to burnout and enjoy some vacation with the girlfriend. I appreciate your advice and looking forward to becoming fully FI so I can live this life All day, every day. Thanks for all you do and wishing you the best 2025. I wish that to you too. So I think that's a huge thing. I have a video coming out. I have two videos coming out, but I have this one coming out where I talk about the importance of those months off. So when I retired, there are people who go, well, what do you do with your time? One, try not to plan to do a lot with your time because there's too much to do to plan. If you every plan you make limits everything you can do. But when I started taking the first full months off, a month in Colombia, Thailand, a couple months in Florida, a couple months in Portugal, right, and started getting longer and longer, and then I just said, okay, I'm not going to work anymore. You get to a place. So Patrick, you took a month off. You're with the girlfriend. You get to wherever you're going if you're going to travel. In that first week, you're like, okay, in Colombia, I've heard of the salt mines near Bogota. I've heard of the uh, Isla de Piratas by Cartagena. I've lived the how do you say hot springs in Spanish? It's not caliente agua. It's something. But hot springs in the mountains that don't smell like sulfur. Like I've heard of these things. So you go there the first week and you do all these things. When they have at least 3 weeks left, what do you do every day? This is what retirement becomes. When you retire, you're like, yep, I'm gonna take a nap. I'm gonna not do anything. I'm gonna travel to this place, I'm gonna do that place. So you do the few things that you just wanted to do. When I traveled with my brother and I took those months off like you're doing, we do that first week, right? We get to Thailand. Okay, 3 day full moon party. We're gonna book it around going there. I wanted to go in with the tigers just because I knew he's afraid of big animals, which he would punch me if he heard me use the word afraid in him in a sentence. Uh, and the zip lining and the elephants. So we do all that in the first week, and then it's like, okay, what, 3 weeks left, or however long you're going to be there. Portugal, we went all over the Algarve, and we had the first week we Benagil Caves and Sagres. Like we had researched these were the things we wanted to do, but now you get all these weeks. What do you do? Here's what I do in retirement. This is what I learned from those full months off. Every day, plan one thing. You still need to plan your weekends, right? When you worked every now and then, when you had a full-time job, when you have a full-time job, every now and then, some people are like, okay, this Saturday or this Sunday, I'm not doing anything. It's a pajamas, no pants day. I'm not going to leave the house. Those days still need to happen too. But almost every day, there's a museum I haven't been to. I haven't. I'm gonna take the ferry to Seattle and eat on the waterfront. Like one thing every day. I'm gonna go check out this Lego store. There's an actual Lego store. I'm just gonna go see what they've got there. The rest of the day, it's you wake up when you feel like it. You take a nap when you feel like it. You go hang out with whoever's available because everybody else has different work schedules. You do whatever you want every day, but that one day you have that one thing. And I learned that from those months. These are the things I plan on doing, but once they're done, how do you feel every day? One thing. The rest of the day will fill itself up. But yeah, no, that's cool. Brandon, man, howdy. Okay, work. I'm curious, is there a point with bad debt less than 6% interest? If the balance is huge, do you still make minimum payments or do you try to make bigger payments to pay it down? Great question. Let me tell you how I did it. So there's three types of debt. Most people know about bad debt, and some people will say all debt is bad debt. Okay, that person should think that. Then you learn there's good debt. So there is debt that makes more than it costs you to have, and someone else pays it off. Probably more criteria to it than that. In a safe asset, well diversified, that you know, like all the other things. But bad debt, credit card, consumer, maybe student loans, car loans, things where it's a depreciating asset or it's not an asset, and it costs you money, you're paying it off, and it has an interest rate. And then there's good debt. Then there's worse debt. Right? This is the next evolution of bad debt, good debt, worse debt. Worse debt, interest rate above 6% or an adjustable rate or a loan reevaluation period or a balloon payment or something that's going to affect the future. I tackle those. I divided my money in the beginning into piles. Like the first pile was pay the minimum payment on debt that was 6% interest or lower, fixed rate debt. Everything above 6% or had an adjustable rate would get 50% of my discretionary income. And 50% of my discretionary income was saved for the first down payment on my first house hack. So it's split into two piles plus minimum payments. Once I got into the house hack and I bought one more property, the bad debt disappeared. So now I had just had some bad debt because I remember I found out about $89,000 in bad debt in my name I didn't know existed until the divorce. So I was dealing with that in the beginning too. And then I went from minimum payments to two piles to money from my job and the cash flow from the rentals was going to build up the next purchase, and the extra money that I was taking care of the worst debt took care of the bad debt. So even if it had a low interest rate, I was still paying more than the minimum payment to get rid of it. So I didn't delay investing until I was out of bad debt. I divided my money into bad debt, good debt, worst debt. Once the worst debt was gone, then I divided it between good debt and bad debt, growing good debt, getting rid of bad debt. There is a point, I think my nephew called and he's got a loan on something that has like a 1% interest rate. So does it make sense to pay that down? Is it impacting his debt to income ratio? Like there's more to it than just what's the math saying. How will it affect him being able to buy the next real estate or rental property? Um, how do you psychologically feel about having bad debt versus just imagine this for a second. So yeah, I've got some good debt. I bought a bunch of properties. I owe like almost, it's less than, but it's like $1.8 million in debt on a portfolio that's worth coming up on $7 million in gross value. I don't care about the bad debt because there's all of these millions of dollars that is mine above the debt. But I don't have a penny in credit card debt. I don't have a penny on a car loan. I I don't have a housing mortgage. I'm house hacking a duplex. I purchased all cash. Like I don't have any bad debt. Imagine the floating in space weightlessness emotions that happen from no pressure from any type of debt. No, not one penny in interest anyone else is earning. I use a credit card for almost every purchase, pay it off every day, right? But I don't carry a balance. So, how important is that emotional state to you versus the debt having a good interest rate? I would take at least half of your discretionary income at all times going towards the house hack or the next investment, right? So you're at least contributing for your 401k for the match. You're doing whatever makes sense there, but you are investing while you're taking care of debt. And the very first step that I skipped in all of this is make sure you're not creating any more bad debt. And I hope you have an amazing 2025 too. Duplex Dave, I'm selling my last property purchased in September for 215,000, a duplex fixer upper that went way over budget, 75,000 rehab, and will be able to break even on it in a couple of weeks. Not every deal goes to plan. Very true. Now, with your experience, with your financial freedom, with your traveling, you were doing a deal that could have been great, but you're kind of breaking even. Great. It's not bad. It's that person that's just starting out that probably didn't have your knowledge base and might have made more than $75,000 to cost, might have taken longer to do it, might have missed some steps. That's why I don't think that the BRRRR, the fixer-upper, is the way to start. I think that you can make so much money sounds great, but you can also, a good, skilled person who is financially free, broke even on deals, you can lose money if you're just starting out. Stephen, howdy. I joined right before Christmas. I'm about halfway through financial freedom. Awesome. Nice. So the course calls are every Tuesday for the month of January, right after the live stream. So next week, it'd be starting in 6 minutes for the whole month of January. The members only is going to be twice on a weekend throughout January. Christine, howdy. Happy New Year, fellow disciples. 2025 is going to suck and be amazing at the same time. It would be so cool to meet up with you in another country. Well, I don't, I know you travel, actually, I think you travel quite a bit more than I do, but I'll be in Thailand. It was supposed to be the winter, but some things have changed. So it's looking like end of February, March, April, and we'll see how I feel about May. Maybe I'll come home then, back to the US, but it would be great. REI Jared, you guys are awesome. Boss lady wants her husband back. Happy New Year. There you go. Good night. Christine, I can attest to that. When I lived abroad, I worked 30 hours a week with 5 months off a year and save as much money as I do living in the US working myself to the bone. There you go. It sounds accurate. Deconstructing Dreams. Howdy all from Reno, Nevada. Howdy. Mick, a good travel show on YouTube I required is Trippin' with Ari. Comedians talk travel stories. Nice. I like it. Uh, I'm working on getting drunk, if that counts. Cheers. Can't drink all day unless you start early. Duplex Dave, are you planning a Dion event when you get to 50,000 subs similar to Zuber? I don't think so. Zuber, who I consider a friend, I've spent more time with him than most of the people in my life, right? Like consistently for now for 3 years, at least minimum hour a week. How many people, like outside the people who live in your house, do you spend a minimum of an hour a week with every week for like 4 years now? So I consider him a friend. I definitely wouldn't narrate a book for almost anyone I actually know outside of YouTube, but I did it for him and lost 6 months of my life. Uh, don't tell him that's how I said it, but um, he did YouTube because in 2018 he reached financial freedom. Well, he reached it probably a decade before that, and he had a bad day at work, so he quit. And he gets home, and he's told this story many times. He says for like 2 weeks he was smiling so much his face hurt, and then he felt kind of lost and unproductive, and he wasn't sure if he'd made a mistake. And for like 6 months he got depressed and was thinking I might have to go back to work. Instead, he wrote a book to share his story, made a YouTube, started recording videos, didn't even know you can monetize it till he had like over 1,000 subs. And he was recording like 5 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it gives him purpose. I could tell he enjoys it, right? I didn't want to replace work with 5 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I do 4 hours a week on YouTube. Usually 2 hours on Tuesday, where I do an intro and then answer questions for an hour and a half, right? So 2 hours. And then like a 10 to 20 minute video on Thursday and Saturday, but it takes me like 40 minutes to make sure I know what I want to put in that video. Like this Thursday, I have a video coming out, how retiring early conquered my biggest fear. And do you know how hard it's going to be for me to admit to a fear? Like, first of all, raising three kids, having them go through the teenagers, so I know how to face fear. I'm a Marine. I was in Desert Storm. I planted flowers in the desert. I know like what real fear is, but there's a fear that retiring early conquered that's going to be hard for me to admit to. But the video is probably going to take 10 to 20 minutes. But there's that hour of make sure I'm getting it in the right order, to make sure it makes sense, make sure I'm conveying something that helps the person watching understand maybe why retiring early is for them. So I'll do that. I'll do 2 hours on the live stream and then 2 1 hour time periods to do that. So 4 hours a week for YouTube. I get to meet some really cool people. I'm looking forward to Vegas. So I'm not creating like Zuber created 9 millionaires. Not, there's probably 15 or so now, but there was like nine that would come on every week. Stock, crypto, real estate, big portfolio, Jonathan Twomley, big apartment complexes, me, small, Coach Carson, small and mighty, right? Like all these different people. So he's got this community that reaches out like that. I'm just looking for the people who want a small portfolio, who want to have enough rentals to make work optional, whether it's in 10 years or when they retire at regular retirement age. And so I think an event makes sense for Zuber, and I'll be a part of events like that. I don't know that I would do one. I really like going to like the Robin Hood events and presenting to like a smaller, 20 to 30 people in a room. And Zuber's thing where they're recording it so I can watch stuff later, but we can go and hang out in another room, get to know each other. I enjoy all that. I don't know that I enjoyed enough to book a venue, coordinate it, spend the money on here's because it was $10,000 to set up the binder course. Like that was enough. I'll spend 10 grand to help people figure out how to get their rents to go up without losing tenants. Zuber's spending somewhere between like 30 to 70 grand on his event. I don't know if he'll even break even. So it's not like he's doing it to make money. He's doing it because it's his community. But 5 hours a day now, 5 days a week, it's still his replacement to his work, and he thoroughly loves it, right? You could tell. You could tell just by watching him. Yeah. I don't know that I will. I don't know. I would say survey says no. Brandon, man, you answered my question really well. Thank you for that. Happy New Year to you and your loved ones. Thank you. You too. All night ahead of Vegas is another country. Yeah, if Christine and her husband could come to Vegas, I mean, that would be great. About to house hack my second multifamily. Felt like a lifetime to get here. That income snowball is just around the corner. Just got to stay consistent. Totally agree. Good job. Freedom works. What happened to Zuber in retirement is what happened to me twice. Ouch. I need some type of work or I don't do well. Huh. Do you, what, same. Why are there people? I get the premise. If you're not working to make money, you're losing 40 to 60 hours of your week. So you stop working, you get that money back, you get that time back. Why do I not feel like I need purpose from selling my life, from having a job? There's something different. I don't know. I think Zuber would go crazy if he had my lifestyle. My lifestyle of I'm going to wake up and do whatever I feel like today, and I don't know where I'm going to end the day. Matthew, should I buy Diablo 4 or Space Marine? Okay, we're coming to the end of the live stream if that's the questions we're getting, which because it's not real estate related. I'm not a fan of Diablo. I don't like overhead games. I like full immersion. I've got this charging because I'm probably going to be in Skyrim or Fallout 4 later tonight because I like full immersion. I might go for Zenith to get some social time, hang out with other people in VR. Uh, so I'm not a Diablo fan. Space Marine 2, maybe. I don't know anything about that game. I'm not too much of a fan of first person shooters. Uh, Fallout 4 kind of counts, but I'm exploring the vaults there. But I've always liked the games where you can do full immersion for things you can't normally do. So uh, I'm actually, if you want a real nerd moment, EverQuest came out in 1999. I'm playing a game with my son and some friends called Pantheon, which is literally made with like 1999 graphics for the nostalgia aspect of it. Freedom Works. I enjoy reading the Wall Street Journal more than looking at Playboy. Of course we do. Yeah, I would totally agree with it. I don't have a Wall Street Journal account, but I will listen to podcasts and watch audiobooks and don't need the prawn. Okay, I think we've gone through almost all of the questions. Okay, real estate talk. I'm low key scared. Can we analyze a deal or two? So normally we do that in the members only, Christine, because it would kill we're at the end of a live stream. Let me do a version of the members only real quick. I think I gave you my number when we were in Florida. Uh, can you text me the address of the deal you want to look at? Not one that you want to buy because we're going to create competition, but in the market, send me one. And if you get it to me quick, I'll show you a Cliff Notes version of what the members only is like because that's what we do. We literally look at deals, every aspect of it, top to bottom. And it's not so much to go, hey, this is a deal you should make an offer on. It's Christine to go, okay, you've got the skill, you've learned the skill to determine if it's a good deal or not. Freedom works. My father was the same exact way. He was happiest when conquering the world through business. My kids would have said the exact same thing about me to the day that I retired. I probably would have said the same thing about me till the day I retired. Gavin, should I buy a hard cover, soft roll up cover, or leave my pickup bed open on my little landlord truck? Buy new Ridgeline soon. Well, if you're buying something soon, I don't know that I would do anything to it. I always have it rhino lined. Every pickup that I have the bed rhino lined, so you can haul anything. I don't care about it getting scratched. Um, it's not super cheap, but every truck I've sold has had the same value as when I bought it. I don't think I've ever sold a vehicle for less than what I purchased it for. Although I did have the expense of putting the rhino lining in it, especially everything the landlords, you can have a nice looking truck, but you could still haul brush, trash, all that stuff. Okay, so I am going to, let me find this deal. I'm probably going to have to look at two screens. So thank you for hanging out for the live stream. I'm not turning it off. What I'm going to do is an exercise of looking at a deal for Christine, like we would in the members only. The difference is we would post the Zoom link in the chat and everybody would jump into Zoom together. I'm not going to do that here because subscribers can comment, but the haters who refuse to subscribe would also jump into the Zoom, and I don't want that. So let me look at this. It's 104 Moises Road, Winter Park, Florida. Sounds like a real place. All right, so now in the members only, we would all jump on Zoom. We would look at this. I would go, this is the one, and Christina, I'll watch the chat on my phone. So if I need to, make sure that this is the one you're looking at. Looks so stream of consciousness, how we look at a deal. And everyone is on Zoom together, so people can put in their input, or they can say things they know about the area, or they can talk about things that they would also like to check. Because I don't know everything. I've just reached financial freedom and made work optional, and I'm trying to share how I did it. And then there are people out there like Jared who are doing it with a completely different strategy, and Millennial Mike is using a different strategy. And so we all have input that we can put in. First thing we do is we're trying to get this skill, and I'm not going to take 45 minutes like I normally would during the members only. I'm going to try to take as short a time as possible, which is not going to be short. Sorry, but this is how the brain works. We're trying to learn a skill that takes 45 minutes, and we do this in the members only. Every time we do it, we do two members only meetings a month, sometimes three, because I forget how to count. But we do two where we learn this skill, and we jump in here and we go, okay, so I look at this, I open this up, I find this on YouTube. And Christine, can you make sure that you tell me I'm looking at the right one? I've pulled up the one that you're talking about. I'm not going to click on any of the pictures because sometimes I'm doing this on my phone and it takes a second for those pictures to load. We're trying to do, like I said, normally in the members only, this takes 45 minutes. You have 90 seconds or so is how long this should take to determine if you continue to look at this deal or not. Or maybe you write down the deal and you watch it for a few weeks to see what happens. So left to right, top to bottom, here's what goes through the stream of consciousness. Based on there being a carport here, a car parked here, a door here, brain says at least duplex, like in a second from the picture, right? So if it is, this is a good listing from an agent. The reason we want to know that is I bought a fourplex where you couldn't tell from the first picture what you were looking at. They showed the back of the property, the only picture of it, and it was a big square. Didn't know that on the other side, each unit had its own garage and it was side by side townhomes. So from this picture, we get mental image, probably duplex. I see pictures here. Can't judge anything because these can be from 15 years ago before 7 tenant turnovers happened and no repairs were done, or they can be from yesterday. So I see 4 beds, 4 baths. Again, backing up, probably duplex, probably 2 bedroom, 2 bath each side. Right? Could be 1 and 3, but it's probably 1,872 square feet. That makes me think that's total unit square feet for both sides. That doesn't mean each side is that. Then I look at price. So you know your market. In your market, you're going to have things like property tax, flood insurance, earthquake insurance, uh, not HOA because you shouldn't buy an HOA. You know basically what your property taxes are because you've studied your market. You've looked at most duplexes that cost around this much. So you'll know right off the bat, how does $540,000 for a duplex, 2 bedroom, 2 bath, compare with what you think a duplex in your area would be? So this might be $100,000 more than duplexes. It might be $100,000 less because you're looking at your market every day to learn this skill. So now the next thing, the next thing that we want to verify, days on market. So this is days on Zillow. I am not a fan of Zillow or Redfin or Realtor or any of those things. You can have dated information or close to right information. I'm on the MLS, so I want to find out more information about this. because you would get this through an MLS search or sent by your agent. How many days on the MLS, not on Zillow? Most of my deals showed up on Zillow. After we closed, they showed up as pending. So it's had some views and saves. It's had a little bit of that. So now I'm going to, again, I'm not going to read all this because we have 90 seconds, right? But I'm going to look at the first thing. This says it is a duplex. I've also taken note. There's no amount here for HOA. At some point in my actual deep deal dive search of this property, I'm going to make sure I verify no HOA because I will not buy a rental in an HOA. So there's a lot of writing here. I don't know. I might come back and read all of this. I would say 2019-20 HVACs approximately. So that's recent. And I'm going to correct your grammar. They are hot water heaters. You'll have every pedantic person out there going, it's a water heater. No, my hot water heater has hot water in it and it heats it. So there's hot water when it comes out. It is a hot water heater. Everybody's wrong. Come at me, bro. All right. So then, now I haven't looked at any of the pictures. How does this compare? This is all in my head so far, right? I've determined it is a duplex. There's no HOA. It's probably a 2-2. I'm gonna look at chat really quick and make sure everything's working here. Okay. Yep, there's a but Gavin, when it goes to calculate the ROI, the CDS rental calculator, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about other ones, but that is going to be almost the least important thing that we do. We practice the math not until we get it right. We practice the math until we can't get it wrong. So you'll know the math. And looking in your area, you'll know without opening the calculator after you've run the deal on 20 or 30 rentals that this is a good or a bad deal. You might not know the exact ROI, but you'll know don't waste my time or watch days on market until it hits 100 and then make a 50% offer or something ridiculous, right? But then I'm going to go to the map. This is the order we do it in. First, we look to determine what it is we're looking at. How does that price compare with what those rents would be? We're not worried about math yet because you have 90 seconds to do this. I'm not going to waste my time opening up an app or a website to look at the math before I've determined there's plenty of reasons why I would never buy this rental. So we go to satellite. I usually zoom out like this. And now what I'm looking for is water desalination plants, prisons, something smelly like a French fry factory that's going in Moses Lake, commutability to how close is it to the freeways. We could go to the flood. To see nothing looks like flood zone's going to pop up for insurance issues for us. Look at the size of it. Now, one thing I'm considering here is when I go back to satellite. House, 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 probably duplex, duplex, house, house, maybe duplex because of the two driveways. So I'm just looking. What I don't want to do is buy a duplex on a street of duplexes, the horseshoe in a street of duplexes. My goal is to buy a duplex next to houses. So that's in the type of neighborhood I would like. The flood didn't show up really bad as far as the area goes. It looks commute friendly. It's not too far to the main roads around here. You know your market, you know where your economic drivers are, how far out where your commuters go. Does anything stand out here as good or bad neighborhood? You should know that already, knowing your market. And one of the ways to do that is you call your property managers and you say, hey, where will you not manage a property? You call the non-emergency police number and you say, I'm thinking of buying to live in an area. Where are the most unsafe areas where you guys can't go alone? Right? Ask those questions. So you already know all of that. So you know your market. If it's a new market, you have a lot of research to do. So Christine, if you're looking at this, how does that line up with where are the economic drivers that people are going to go to work for around here? Are they within an hour, hour and a half drive? Because remote work, that's good enough for me. Uh, would a property manager manage properties in this area? Will the police go to this area? Call the non-emergency number, and you want to delineate your property manager. You're not looking to buy because that doesn't help them. You're looking to buy a rental where you might need their services in the future. When you talk to law enforcement, you don't say you want to own a rental because they don't like tenants. Tenants become most of their problems. You want to talk like you're going to be living there, and you're saying, "Hey, if I was going to buy a house to live somewhere, where's the most unsafe place I shouldn't buy?" Build that out to where I know in my market Anything within 3 blocks and about a mile strip of McKinley Avenue in Tacoma, not touching it. Anything within a half a mile radius of 301 T Street in Tumwater, I'm not touching it. Like I know my market to know where to avoid. You can still find other pockets you want to avoid when you do your bigger research, but this is all happening again in 90 seconds. So I've looked at the map enough to determine that. So now I look and I go. So here'd be the question for you, Christine, if you were on Zoom with me. How does this compare to other duplexes? How does this compare to the average days on market? In Washington state, the average days on market are somewhere between 6 and 9. So less than 10 days on market. So 36, that starts to triple it. I started looking for properties that were on the market more than 91 days, meaning they had been relisted by somebody who really wants to sell because they generally list for 90 days and then come off. So 91 days or longer means they've been relisted. So I started making 80% offers or so on the properties that were on there. So this is on 3 times longer than normal. I don't know that it would take a big haircut, but I probably wouldn't start with the 540,000 as my first offer since it's been on more than a month, but I don't know your days on market for the area that's average. Then I would go to the rental calculator app. We do use the CDS rental calculator app. We have found some flaws in the way that it runs things, so it's a rough estimate. You might also want to go to a mortgage calculator, but really do a cash flow consideration of what is your mortgage, what is the payment going to be, and what is your rental expected to be. So you've probably done a rent study for here. So we would go to Rentometer, two bed, two bath. Just a guess. I really didn't read that whole book that they wrote about it. So snapshot 1700 for average, 1600 for percentile. I usually go 5 or 10% below that. You're doing a rent study. This is a snapshot. This is not the numbers that you use. Then I would go fair market rents. I would look up what Section 8 pays. I don't know enough about that, but you guys understand how this works. I'd look up 2025. I'd go to the 2025 fair market rents. You are in Florida. I don't know what county that's in, but you would look up the county. We'll just have no idea what county it's in, but I'll wait. So you would look up the county here, and we'll just pick one at random. And you would go, okay, 2 bedrooms in this area rent for. Make sure you look up the zip code that it's in that you're doing to find out what Section 8 will pay, what rentometer says that it is, to figure out a conservative number for what do you think you should be able to rent out a 2 bedroom. Now, you can't use that data. You also have to go to Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, Zillow, Redfin, watch places that are for rent. Why am I getting so many phone calls? Oh, it's all my friends. They got to be drunk. And it's New Year's. I have to, okay. Yeah. I'm getting drunk dialed by all my friends, one after the other. They must be having a barbecue and wondering where I'm at. I cannot put them on live. That would not go well. Somebody would find out what my nickname is, and that's not good. Uh, anyway, so this was a Cliff Notes version of what we do in the members only. It usually lasts 45 minutes. We go through, then we put in the CDS rental calculator app. We look at how much the price is, what our down payment would be, what our interest rate would be, what our taxes are, what our expected rents are, and you have to do the study on rents to see what actual rents are. You can't just use the Cliff Notes versions of snapshots that I just did. You build an actual rent box for your area, and you see what your yield is. And you do this on enough deals, not because you're looking for a certain yield. What you do this is you do this on enough deals so that you start to recognize what an average yield is, and you make sure the deals you're buying beat the average. Now you know why I don't do that during the live streams. I do that during the members only because imagine if you were on YouTube and you logged in and you just look like the people watching count dropped by like 20 because we open an email, we open a rental, we do comparisons, we look at everything. It's super boring. Nobody's on YouTube to do boring stuff. There are people on YouTube trying to learn a skill. They'll become members. They'll do that twice a month to learn this skill. There you go. So let me look at the comments really quick. I agree with Gavin. That CDS rental calculator app is the one that we use. Area travel. Thanks. There you go. Duplex Dave. My quick method estimate rent 1.9K per unit based on online and rentometer divided by 440 ratio. Hard pass on that price. It would need to be 400,000. So what was your interest rate? What was your insurance estimate? And then, so the problem with Florida is you also have to see that one didn't look like it needed flood insurance, but sometimes they require it based on the elevation of the property. So there's a little more research to do there. So so many people get hung up on the math. That's not what matters to me. Is it an area I would want to rent? Are there aspects? So the thing that we didn't do that we would do in the longer talk is we would open all the pictures, verify that there's washer dryer hookups, verify that there's enough parking. Look at the pet friendliness of the backyard being fenced. Like all those things we're going to go through to make sure it matches the strategy you're trying to use. And we would do the math. But you have to learn what is average. There are places where there was a comment earlier in this video where somebody said, "Hey, the area average in my place is everyone would lose 3% on every deal. I found one that made 3%, so I got it. I'm super happy. 3% in my area would be a third of what I want, but in another market, it would be exactly what I was shooting for. So you have to know what is area average in your area, and you want to beat it with your yield." Julie Anderson, I just told a guy on Facebook, good job house hacking. He had not heard the term, and I insulted him. I had to go back and explain it to him. Nice. Yeah, no, there's a ton of people. My brother, who has 10 paid off rentals and is retired, had no idea what house hacking is. And he lives on a property with an ADU. Now, both of them are the same size. It's not like there's a little tiny ADU built. It's two houses on one property. He's house hacking. He just never heard of it. Chris, howdy. Central Washington, what are you doing over there? Gavin, Rentometer, I have been using Rentcast lately. It seems to be slightly more up to date, though it's still lagging. Yeah, it's a bunch of data put together that you got to go to find what makes sense. Cool. I think we'll be wrapping up there. I hope everybody had an amazing 24 and 25 is a year full of awesome. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the live stream on Thursday when I talk about how retiring early conquered my biggest fear. And I'm actually going to explain to what some of my fears have been in that video. It's going to be a hard video to make. So I think I will drink the water that makes my eyes water before the video. Cheers.